The film kicks off in Vietnam, deep in the bitter American War in 1968. We see a squad of American soldiers lost in the jungle under heavy rain, desperately trying to radio HQ, but it's no use. In that moment, a strange, terrifying creature emerges from the darkness of the jungle and attacks them brutally, finishing them off one by one, down to the last soldier. 3 days later, we see another combat squad, Fletcher Squad, skillfully infiltrating a Vietnamese stronghold. They engage in a firefight, and after a long battle, they manage to take the location and free the captured American soldiers. They get him on the chopper to head back, but at the last second, the squad leader, Baker, receives a summons for another urgent mission from Colonel Watts. Naturally, they're furious because they haven't even rested from the mission they just finished. Still, they're forced to head to the military base. There, Colonel Watts briefs them on the mysterious new mission. He explains that an entire squad vanished and hasn't returned from their mission in the valley for 3 days, and all contact was lost. Their job is to go to that valley, find them, and bring them back, no matter the danger they face. Colonel Watts refuses to clarify any details about the missing squad's objective, telling them it's top secret. The soldiers want more information, but he orders them to carry out the mission without any questions and to gear up immediately. And so, by night, the chopper takes them to the dark jungle area where the previous squad was operating. They disembark and start the search when suddenly they find massive footprints, even bigger than an elephant's. They have no idea what this giant creature is, so they decide to follow the tracks, hoping they lead to the missing squad. As they move through the dense jungle, they hear strange creature sounds all around them, forcing them to move with extreme caution. Suddenly, a terrifying creature grabs their leader, Baker, by the leg and starts dragging him into the darkness. Baker unloads his machine gun on it with all his strength until the creature lets him go and escapes. His squad reaches him, unsure of what just grabbed him, and they decide to get out of that spot immediately, realizing the real danger they're in. Meanwhile, we see a squad of Russian soldiers moving through the same jungle. Just then, the last soldier in their line is attacked by a dinosaur, which rips his head off in an instant. When the rest of the soldiers notice he's missing, they search for him until they find him dead in that horrific way. They immediately assume the Americans must have killed him and decide they must get revenge. We return to the American squad as they reach a dark cave and decide to enter and search it. They move through the pitch-black cave, but suddenly, small dinosaurs appear. This is their nest. The soldiers immediately open fire as the dinosaurs try to attack them fiercely. The soldiers retreat from the cave, but the leader, Baker, and the soldier, Leon, exit through a different opening and get separated from the rest of the squad. They're forced to move on together, completely baffled by the strange creatures that just attacked them. They advance through the jungle until they find a giant sleeping dinosaur. They try not to make a sound so it doesn't wake up, but just then, small dinosaurs appear and make noise, waking the giant. Baker and Leon run for their lives at full speed as it chases them. They try shooting it, but it has no effect. They keep running until the next morning, still trying to escape. They emerge from the jungle and reach a high cliff overlooking a river below. The dinosaur appears right behind them, so they decide to jump from the cliff into the river. After the terrifying jump, Baker finds that Leon has passed out. Just then, a woman on the shore comes to help him pull Leon out of the water. They revive Leon, and the woman introduces herself as a Russian named Sophia. She urges them to go with her and hide in the shelter where she lives before the dinosaur attacks them again. Baker agrees. Sophia takes them to the shelter, lets them in, and seals the gate, telling them they'll be safe here. Sophia then sits down, takes out a syringe of morphine, and injects herself. Baker demands to know why she's in Vietnam. Sophia tells him the shelter was a secret Russian facility, but everyone died, and she's the only one left. Baker doesn't believe her. He feels she's hiding much more. Baker contacts Colonel Watts on the radio and tells him what happened, that they're facing actual dinosaurs. Baker is furious because the colonel hid this truth from them before sending them on the mission. He demands evacuation choppers immediately. He tells Watts he's going to find the rest of his squad, and when he does, he'll radio their location for pickup. Baker ignores Colonel Watts' attempts to control him and cuts the connection. He then decides they have to leave the shelter and have Sophia guide them to find the rest of his squad. At the same time, the rest of his squad is moving through the valley when they're suddenly fired upon by the Russian soldiers. They take cover and exchange fire in a fierce battle. But the loud gunfire attracts flying dinosaurs, pterodactyls, which appear above them. The Russians, terrified, start firing at the creatures. The dinosaurs begin to attack and eat them one by one. The American soldiers use this chaos to move quickly and escape toward the jungle. One of them has been shot in the leg, so they stop for a brief rest. Just then, Baker, Sophia, and Leon arrive, having tracked the sound of the gunfire. Baker informs them he's called for extraction, but right then they hear dinosaurs nearby, and small, incredibly fast dinosaurs appear. They open fire, but one of the dinosaurs grabs the soldier, Logan, by the leg. They run after him to save him. We see the dinosaur mauling Logan horribly. Logan resists, stabbing the dinosaur in the head with his knife, just as the soldiers arrive and fire on the creature, forcing it to flee. Logan's injuries are severe, and he's in agonizing pain. They carry him and rush him back to Sophia's shelter. They give him first aid, as he's lost a lot of blood. They prepare a syringe of morphine for him, but Sophia steals the syringe when they're not looking, to inject herself. She's an addict. Baker follows her, completely stunned by her behavior, and demands an explanation for what's going on. At this point, Sophia breaks down and confesses the whole truth. The secret Russian facility had built a nuclear collider. They were running experiments to develop a superweapon against America, but the experiment failed and accidentally created a miniature black hole, or a time hole. This caused a temporal rift between the past and the present, and through this hole a group of dinosaurs crossed over from a very ancient era. Sophia continues her shocking story, saying that the Russians in the facility didn't all die. They were under the command of a general named Borden. When the dinosaurs attacked the facility, they killed many of them, but General Borden and the survivors moved to another location to rebuild the nuclear collider. Right then, the dinosaurs are trying to breach the shelter's gate. Sophia tells them there's a secret exit and an emergency boat they can use to escape via the river. Baker hesitates, knowing they can't move Logan with his severe injuries. But Logan, in a heroic gesture, decides to sacrifice himself. He tells them to leave him and escape. They're forced to say an emotional goodbye and leave him. The dinosaurs breach the shelter, and Logan activates a bomb, blowing himself and the creatures up. The rest of the squad makes it to the other side. We see them traveling by boat on the river. Baker talks to his soldiers, saying they never wanted any of this to happen, or to lose Logan. But what's done is done, and now they must complete the mission of the squad that came before them. Go to the facility with the nuclear collider and destroy it, because it poses a massive threat to the entire world. Several soldiers object, arguing this isn't their mission. But Baker responds decisively, telling them their mission now is to protect the world from a danger this big. He succeeds in convincing them to continue. The boat continues down the river until they reach the other side of the valley. They make their way to the new facility. By night, they arrive, and Baker gives his squad their instructions. They begin to move and infiltrate, taking out several guards as they sneak inside. At that moment, we see General Borden with his soldiers, who are showing him a small dinosaur they killed when it snuck into the facility. But they don't realize what a terrible mistake they've made. The dinosaur's mother appears before them. When she finds her child dead, she flies into an extreme rage and attacks. The father dinosaur appears, and together they devour the soldiers and destroy the area. Borden runs for his life, enters the nuclear collider room, and orders them to activate it. But just then, Baker and his squad bursts in with their weapons, ordering everyone not to move. Sophia tells Baker she will try to stop the active collider. Baker orders his soldiers to plant explosives on it and prepare to detonate it after Sophia shuts it down. Bourdin appears before them, unable to believe that after all his sacrifice and effort, they're going to destroy his dream. He tells them he won't allow it, but they immediately shoot him, wounding him. Sophia approaches him, raising her pistol, furious at him. Bourdin taunts her, trying to get her to kill him, but she decides not to finish him with her own hands, choosing to let him die in the collider's explosion. Sophia goes back and manages to shut down the collider, and the power cuts out in the facility. But just then, they see the small dinosaurs outside. Large numbers of them have come to the location and are pouring into the corridor toward them. They throw a smoke grenade, fire on them, and retreat toward the second exit. We see Bourdin trying to restart the collider, but a dinosaur appears next to him and finishes him off. The squad moves through the collider's tunnel as the dinosaurs chase them. The creatures attack one of the soldiers, and they can't save him, so they have to leave him behind. Baker deliberately draws the dinosaurs to chase him down the tunnel, giving Sophia and the other remaining soldier a chance to escape. Meanwhile, the U.S. Army choppers have arrived outside. They see Sophia and the soldier running toward them, with dinosaurs chasing them. They open fire on the dinosaurs with heavy ordnance. As for Baker, running through the tunnel, he throws grenades at the dinosaurs pursuing him. One pounces on him, and Baker stabs it with his knife, but he knows he can't escape it before the explosion. In his final moments, he is satisfied and happy with his sacrifice. A massive explosion rips through the collider. The American choppers fly away from the area. On the chopper, Colonel Watts reprimands them for following their leader, Baker, destroying the nuclear collider, and disobeying orders. Sophia tells him it had to be done, but just then, they see a terrifying sight. The dinosaurs are still alive, migrating out of the valley after the explosion. The dinosaur threat is not over. They will surely pose a new threat to wherever they migrate. And the film ends on that open note.